Greece obviously is in some economic trouble, and they have been for quite some time. There's good debate as to why that was the case. Was there overspending? Were the loans structured in a way that hurt the Greek people? A combination of there. And so right now, as we stand, Greece's debt is at $1.77 billion. And of course, the IMF, the European banks, would like a lot of that back. It has been structured, restructured, but all throughout, the creditors have demanded a pound of flesh from the Greek people. So you're going to have to do pension cuts. You're going to have to cut. And finally, the Greek people couldn't take it anymore, and they elected Prime Minister Alexis Tsipras. And his party said, well, we're not going to do that anymore. We're going to renegotiate so that this is a bearable outcome for the Greek nation. So today, some of those issues are coming to a head because as it looks like the deadline approaches, which is less than 48 hours now, as we go live on air here, and Greece, it looks like, will not be repaying the loans back in exactly the way that the creditors would like. Well, there's a little bit of a panic. So Greece had to take some actions, close down some of the banks. So let me tell you all about that from Reuters. Prime Minister Alexis Tsipras, who blindsided creditors by calling a referendum on the austerity cuts in the aid package proposed by the creditors, appeared on television on Sunday night to announce capital controls to prevent banks from collapsing. So the capital controls happen, plus they close down the banks so that there is not a run on the banks. I'll get into a little bit more detail in a second. But if everybody goes to take their money out, it's true everywhere. It's also true here in the United States. The bank doesn't have all the money. They have a very small percentage of that money. Well, that would lead to a collapse of that bank and then many other banks. So it is a dire situation. Now, understand that the framing of Reuters there is not great. I think the Prime Minister's actions are completely reasonable. Look, I'm going to put it to a referendum. So the Greek people are going to decide. Do you want to follow the rules that these creditors have laid down for us? That's the question at hand in the referendum. Or do you not agree to that deal? Now, they think you should vote no. Other smart economists believe you should vote no. Paul Krugman wrote in the New York Times that a no vote is the reasonable way to go here because the creditors are being unreasonable. I'll get back to that in a second as well. But the Greek people get to decide. Now, of course, creditors don't like that. Democracy, it's bothersome, right? So further details here from Reuters. The Greek government will keep banks shut at least until after July 5th, the date of the referendum, and withdrawals from automated teller machines were limited to 60 euros a day when they reopened at midday. The stock exchange will also stay shut. And obviously the markets did not react kindly to this. They took a pounding all over Europe. And people are worried that this contagion, as they call it, will spread to other countries like Spain, Italy, and others in the Euro, in the European Union. And how will it affect the Euro? Will Greece come out of the Euro and go back to using their own currency? At this point, actually, it seems more likely than not. So why are they going through all this? Why do they not want to abide by the strict conditions laid down by the creditors? Well, here's a partial explanation. The creditors wanted Greece to cut pensions and raise taxes in ways that Tsipras has long argued would deepen one of the worst economic crises of modern times in a country where a quarter of the workforce is already unemployed. Their unemployment rate in Greece is 26%. I mean, how high does it have to get before the creditors say, okay, enough is enough, fine, okay, what, 32% unemployment, 36% unemployment? More importantly, perhaps, how does that help the situation? Not only is that a crisis, morally speaking, for the people of Greece, but it also perpetuates a vicious cycle in which the economy has a harder time recovering and paying back the creditors. So now, it's often portrayed in the press and certainly in the West and certainly by the banks and the powerful that, well, there's no other options. What else can you do? Well, we can ask Donald Trump for an option. Wait, why Donald Trump? Well, Trump, who now brags that he has $9 billion, claims to be one of the richest people on earth, is running for president of the United States of America and is actually in second place among the Republicans, says the answer is just declare bankruptcy. He doesn't say it in the case of Greece. He never says it when it comes to middle-class people. But when it comes to him, he says, well, that's my genius financial move. Do you know that Donald Trump has declared bankruptcy 4 different times? Not personal bankruptcy, but corporate bankruptcy. So he says, well, you can't touch my money, but if you were stupid enough to invest with me, I declare bankruptcy again. He's done it 4 times, including as recently as 2009. Now, the answer is actually somewhere in the middle. Should you be as brazen as Trump? If you're stupid enough to give me money, I'm going to take it and then declare bankruptcy. Ha ha. No, that's too much. That's brazen. That's ridiculous. Now, that's a person who flouts the rule of law and does it on purpose, okay, and for his own benefit. On the other hand, is there no circumstance under which you can say, hey, you know what? This loan is simply too onerous and we cannot pay it back? Of course, that's why bankruptcy exists in the first place. Now, it does on a personal level, it does on a corporate level, and corporations take advantage of that all the time. And oftentimes, the banks who are now crying uncle saying, oh, you can't do this to us, oh, you must pay us back, will turn around and declare corporate bankruptcy and say, no, that's okay, I don't have to pay my loans. In fact, there was a giant bank disaster in this country and worldwide where the banks came crying to the American government and said, we're out of money, please give us the money. And we gave them money, hundreds of billions of dollars from the Treasury and trillions of dollars of backup money from the Fed. Nobody at the banks complained about bankruptcy then. Then they loved to say, oh, well, there's nothing we can do. So I think it is perfectly fair for the Greek people to say, hey, listen, the kind of loans that you structured for us were untenable, and now there's nothing we can do, and it is perfectly reasonable here to say we need to restructure it wholesale, whether that's through saying we simply cannot pay it back or far, far more reasonable terms so you can get some of your money back and we can actually end this crippling austerity and get back to an economy that works.